Greetings everyone. We are third year student of the University of Goroka taking Bachelor in Education, and in one of our course, which is EDY 3310, Introduction to Education Psychology, we will be discussing about a topic which is adolescent stress and coping in schools. So I am Tinka Seal and my friend is
Rodolphe Guo.
Yes, we are going to do the presentation about the topic mentioned. Globally, it is estimated that 1 in 7 or 14% of people aged 10 to 19 years of age experience mental health disorder, yet these remain largely unrecognized and untreated. According to Princeton University Dictionary, an adolescent is defined as a person in the stage of development between puberty and maturity in the age range 13 to 19. This age group is also referred to as teenage years and can be categorized as early adolescence from age 11 to 13, middle adolescence from 14 to 16 years of age, and late adolescence from 17 to 19 years of age. This stage is marked by physical, emotional, and cognitive and social change, and it is a significant years of time because it is when a person develops his or her identity, values, and prepares for adulthood. Adolescence is a period of a rapid brain, body, and identity change. Therefore, during this stage, it is important that children is exposed to things that can contribute to build them essentially and not break them. Stress is defined as an imprecise response of the body to any demand for change. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention propagated that stress can be either positive or negative. Stress can be positive when it enhances an individual focus and encourages skills development. Stress can be negative when it is prolonged or impacts an individual's ability to function. In this video presentation, we will be discussing about the types of stress adolescents face in schools, the strategy that they use to cope up with stress in schools, and also why it is important for adolescents to cope up with stress. To begin with, let us pose this question. What type of stress does adolescents face at school? The things that cause stress to adolescents in schools are peer pressure, academic pressure, low self-esteem, substance abuse, financial difficulties, social status, culture, romantic relationship, and many more. The pattern of stresses during each phase of adolescence, that is from middle to late adolescence, differs. An early adolescent from 12 to 14 years may consider academic life stressful, whereas a late adolescent from 17 to 19 may be much worried about the future jobs, and etc. The most common stressors that adolescents face are mainly classified as daily hassles and life events. According to Byrne 2007, he identified 10 different domains of stressors which are most followed and researched by many other researchers as well. They were stress at home, performance at school, and attendance of school, romantic relationship, sexual attraction, peer pressure, teacher interaction, leisure activity, financial pressures, and emerging adult responsibilities. A similar study by Elga 2003 reported its finding on 8 domains of daily hassles, which are social isolation, excessive demands, romantic concerns, decisions about personal future, loneliness, and unpopularity. Also, assorted annoyances and concern, social mistreatment, and academic difficulties. According to research conducted by the European Journal of Psychology and Education Studies 2021, stated there are 3 main areas of stress that adolescents face. Social economic stresses. Social status is the position of an individual within the social relationship, whereas economic status refers to the financial condition and facilities possessed by the parents. These parameters are widely researched in terms of an adolescent, and urban adolescents had lower stress as compared to rural adolescents. Financial and academic stressor is another area. In developing countries, poverty is accompanied by a range of financial stressors such as a struggle to make ends meet, interpersonal conflict over money matters, inadequate health care, ineffective schooling, and disruptions to essential services. In spite of financial stressors and emotional bondage of parents and children tend to counter the stress mediated effects. The other area of stress is peer and parental stresses. Human expectations are boundless. Research has suggested that as an individual adolescents undergo pubertal transition, they seem to become progressively self-conscious and easily get affected with the opinions of others. Distinct changes are evident in terms of relationship with peer, family, and society. Adolescents give more importance to their independent control of decisions, emotion, and action, and start to isolate from parental control.
How does these stressors affect teaching and learning in the classroom? When students are stressed, they lose focus on their studies, which also affects the teachers as well. Learning involves the interaction of cognitive, emotional, and psychological elements. In this context, emotions are considered a very important part of knowledge acquisition process. The Greek philosopher Plato, who lived around the year 427 to 347 BC, indicated that all learning has an emotional basis. When a person is under stress, they experience a negative emotional and cognitive sensation that negatively affects the brain's ability to retain, store, and process information. This can make it difficult for students to concentrate and understand the teacher, which ultimately affects students' learning in the classroom. Also, when the student is under stress, they will get involved with peer pressure, and they will get themselves involved in illegal activities which can affect not only the education but other aspects of their lives. And when students are stressed, this can also affect the teacher and can lead to the stress also of the teacher, because nowadays high schools are competing for a top place, and when students don't score well, it brings more pressure to the teachers to try to meet the expectations that is placed upon them. And as a result, both the students, the teachers get stressed, and it can also affect the whole school community. Furthermore, the strategies that we can use to cope with stress in schools, according to several studies, there are different ways of dealing with stress depending on a variety of factors. To deal with stress, it requires a holistic approach from both the adolescents, the teachers, and also the parents. According to American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry 2019, the adolescents can deal with stress by exercising and eating regularly, getting enough sleep, avoiding excessive caffeine, avoiding illegal drugs or alcohol, learn relaxation exercises, develop assertiveness training skills, rehearse and practice situations which causes stress, learn practical coping skills, decrease negative self-talk, and learn to be content with yourself. And also listen to music, talk to friends, have a cold bath, spend time with a pet, and build a network of friends who will help you to cope in a positive way. Parents can also help the adolescents cope by monitoring if stress is affecting their teenager children, and listen carefully to teens when they say a problem. Support them in the involvement in tolerable social activities. Teachers can help by making the learning environment an enjoyable one through always ensuring that the classroom is always clean, being polite to students, and engaging with students with concern and love. The strategy that I personally would recommend is to pray over the student or pray over what is stressing you out, and claim God's promise in the Bible in the book of Matthew 11:28. Me and my friend has conducted a research within our circle to understand what causes stress and how teenagers or adolescents deal with stress. We have interviewed 12 students with two simple questions. The first question was what causes you stress? And according to what we have found out of 12 students, 5 of them said family issues make them stressful. 2 out of 12 says financial issues make them stressful. 8 out of 12 says academic issues. 1 out of 12 says relationship. And 1 out of 12 says debts, financial debts, and 1 out of 12 says bad behavior causes them stress. So these are the type of stressors that we have identified from our 12 participants. The strategies in which they use to cope with stress. On the 12 students that we interviewed, 3 students say they just ignore the problem and they ignore that they have the stressful feeling. Also, another 3 said they adapt. They use the stressful situation as a mechanism to adapt. And 1 out of the 12 says they sleep to relieve stress. 3 out of the 12 say they listen to music or they sing. And 1 out of the 12 says they seek advice. Another 4 says they pray. 1 says they watch movies to relieve themselves. And 1 person says they exercise to relieve their stress. So these are the coping mechanisms that we have identified. To conclude, adolescence is defined as a period in the stage of development between puberty and maturity, in the age range of 13 to 19 years old. Adolescents are the most vulnerable people who are prone to stress and anxiety because this stage is marked by physical, emotional, cognitive, and social changes that are mostly not understood. And also, this stage is marked by the desire of self-actualization. And when these desires are not met, the child faces stress. There are many different types of stressors that adolescents experience. These stressors can take place at home, at school, and with friends. There are 3 main stressors that adolescents usually face. The first one is socio-economic stressors. The second one is financial and academic stressors. And the final one is peer and parental stress. These stressors affect teaching and learning in the classroom as well, and not only in the other aspects of life. Because all learning has an emotional basis, stress can negatively affect the emotions and feelings, which can affect cognitive functioning and hinder learning. Adolescents can cope with stress by a variety of ways, which mainly focus on turning the negative stress into something positive that can boost academic achievement. It is very important for adolescents to cope with stress because adolescence is a stage where a person develops the identity, values, and prepares for adulthood. Thank you for watching this short video. We hope the information provided could be of help to any adolescent out there who is facing stress.
Thank you, and that's the end of our video presentation. Bye for now.